Okie dokie, artichoke. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Full Steam Ahead Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math Crafts for Kids. Today is art. As you can see from the title, we are going to be painting our feelings using paint and washi tape or using oil pastels. You could use liquid watercolors, you could use regular watercolors, you could use acrylic paint, that doesn't matter. So what we're doing today is based off these three books by Todd Parr. The first one is the Feel Good book, then we have the I'm Not Scared book, and finally we have the Feelings book. So these are all books for children that help them work through and identify their feelings. So figuring out what they're feeling, or even just acknowledging that they're feeling something and putting a name to it, and then helping them identify and get used to using self-soothing techniques to help them take care of themselves. So for example, the Feel Good book is listing a bunch of ways that kids might self-soothe and might recognize positive coping strategies, like it feels good to dance when I'm really sad, or it feels good to hold my mom's hand when I'm feeling upset, and stuff like that. And then the Feelings book is what I was saying at the beginning, is teaching children how to recognize their emotions and encouraging them to talk about them with people, friends, or family. And then the I'm Not Scared book is teaching kids how to recognize and come up with coping strategies when it comes to fear specifically. So these are all awesome books, and I thought, what better way to kind of put this into practice than to demonstrate a way that you can help children identify and talk about what they're feeling using art. So what you're going to need for this is different colors of washi tape. You don't need this many. If you're doing this with a really young kid, I'd say maybe limit it to 3 or 4 colors. If you're doing it with an older kid, it's limitless. It's just each color of tape is going to be associated with a particular emotion. And then you're going to want a piece of cardstock where you've put down the different colors of tape, and next to them written which emotion they are corresponding to. So I have orange for angry, yellow for happy, blue for sad, green for calm, purple for hopeful, maroon for anxious, and gray for hopeless. So those are just the emotions that I decided to put on here today. Like I said, if you're doing this with a really young kid, you might want to just stick with the first 4 and do angry, happy, sad, and calm, or something like that. Or whichever ones the child has been talking about most recently. And then you're going to want a canvas, or even just a piece of paper. If you have mixed media paper, that works best, because then you can choose which medium you want to use. I happen to have a canvas, so I'm going to use it. And then if you're using watercolor or acrylics or something, you're going to want your paint and your brushes and your water and something to wipe your brushes off of. I think I might actually use oil pastels today, so we'll see. And then we're good to go. So this is a super simple exercise. So what you might want to start off by doing is, if you have access to one of these books, they are all requestable, by the way. I would highly encourage you grab one of these from the library if you're interested in doing this at home. You might want to read the Feel Good book or the Feelings book or the I'm Not Scared book at home and talk about what we're feeling that day and the kind of things that we might be feeling and how we might make ourselves feel better. And then after you have a talk about feelings, then what you want to do is pick your colors and associate them with an emotion based on what you've been talking about that day. So I'm going to go with my own emotions today. So I have here angry, like I said, angry, happy, sad, calm, hopeful, anxious, and helpless. So what you're going to do is just take the different colors of tape. If you're doing this with younger kids, you might want to, instead of having them written out like this, you might want to have like maybe a little square piece of paper with what emotion you're talking about written on it, and then have the tape resting on it so that when they reach for it, they can see that I'm reaching for sad right now. So once they've done that, you're gonna, after you've talked to them about their emotions, what you're gonna want to do is have them reach out and pick the color of tape that they're feeling in that moment, and they're just going to start decorating their canvas or their mixed media paper with it. So I'm gonna pick up sad because I read a really sad book this morning. And I'm just going to put some sad down on my canvas. And while you're doing this, you can start maybe talking to them about how you can feel more than one emotion at a time. I can feel sad and I can feel other things. So just in case it wasn't clear, we're going to be doing resist painting today. So we're putting the tape down and then we're going to paint or color over it. And the tape will be part of the art. So we're making something beautiful out of our emotions today. So I'm just going to put sad down a little bit. And then if they start getting really zealous with sad, maybe you want to direct the conversation toward what else are you feeling? I know you're feeling sad, but is there something else maybe that you want to add to your paper? And then if they seem to have forgotten about the other emotions, maybe you can prompt them a little bit. Well, you're feeling sad. How about angry? How about anxious? How about hopeful? How about one of the other emotions that you've talked about? So I put down sad a little bit on my canvas. I just did a few little pieces of tape there. And I think I'm also going to put down anxious just because, you know, we're coming up on 1 year of having been shut down. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day last year was the last day that we were able to have things kind of run as normal in the library. I remember we were supposed to have a St. Patrick's Day children's and teen event, and we weren't able to do it. We had to cancel it, and then the next day, people came in and picked out a bunch of books, and then the day after that, we were closed. So that makes me feel a little bit anxious. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some maroon tape down because that is the color I picked for anxious today. All right, and I'm not feeling super anxious though, so I think I'm just gonna stick with 2 pieces of tape for anxious. I'm also feeling happy though. I can feel sad and happy at the same time, and anxious all at the same time, and I'm happy because I'm going for a walk with a friend after work today, and that makes me feel happy, even though I'm sad because I read a sad book, and even though I'm anxious because we've been closed for almost a full year now. I can feel all 3 of those things at the same time. So I'm going to put a nice big piece of happy tape all across one side, and then I think I'm going to put a nice big piece going diagonally this way as well, because I'm really happy at the idea of going on a walk with my friend. Just like when we read the feel-good book and we learn positive coping strategies to help us self-soothe when we're not feeling great. I know that when I'm feeling sad and anxious, going on a walk with my friend and talking while we walk outside is going to help me feel better, and that makes me happy. So we're going to put a nice big piece of happy tape down. I think I want this one to go like that. So I've got some sad blue tape and some anxious maroon tape and a couple big old pieces of happy tape. Now, like I said, if you're doing this with a really young kid, you might want to stick to just the 3 main emotions that they're talking about at a time. Maybe don't go over 4 because that can get kind of overwhelming for their little selves. But if you're doing this with older kids like me, then you can go nuts and put as many emotions as you want. So I also have angry tape. I think I'm going to put a little bit of angry tape down because the same thing that makes me anxious, us being closed for a year, also makes me feel a little mad. Not mad that we're closed, but mad that I can't have people in here, and that makes me sad. It's not something I have any power over. That is up to people that are much, much higher in local government than me. But we are allowed to feel what we feel, right? So that is something we really, really, really want to help little kids understand. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple little pieces of mad tape down, angry tape. Oop, this one doesn't work very well, but that's okay. That also makes me angry. We know for our littlest friends, right, emotional regulation is very hard. If we feel angry, we feel really angry. And it maybe doesn't last for a very long time, but when we feel it, oh boy, do we feel it, right? So I'm going to put another little piece of angry tape right here. So this is also a good time to talk about how if we feel angry, it's not a good feeling emotion. It doesn't make us feel good, but it is okay to feel angry. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that you're feeling it. We acknowledge it. We put it down on our little canvas, and then we talk about the next thing that we're feeling. I'm also going to put down hopeful. I'm putting down hopeful as well, because guess what? Our numbers are going down, and the more they go down, the more chance there is that we're going to be able to open up and have kids come back in again. And that makes me feel super hopeful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice big piece of hopeful tape, the purple one, right in the middle. And then I think I'm going to put another big old piece of purple. Woo! A huge one. Diagonally all the way across. Okay. And then I think I'm going to stick with these emotions here. So I have sad, and I have anxious, and I have angry, and I have happy, and I have hopeful. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another couple pieces of tape for each of those colors. And what you want to do is, while you're putting these down and like helping talk the kiddo through all the different things that they're feeling and helping them identify the color of tape that they want to use for that emotion and helping them, you know, put it on their canvas, you want to be filling up a good amount of space with your tape, because then we are going to be painting over it or coloring over it with oil pastels, depending on what you use. And we're going to make it look even prettier as a way to really cement the idea that emotions aren't bad. Even if they're negative emotions, they're not bad. They're just fine. And it's not a bad thing to feel them, and we want to talk about them with people, with mom and dad, or aunties and uncles, or friends, or Nana and Papa. We want to talk about them with people. So we're going to talk about them and make them look beautiful with paint. So let me get the blue. I'm going to put a little bit more sad on here. You want to know the book I read that made me really sad? I think it's here. Is it here right now? No, it's not. It's called Fighting Words. It's a book that I'm going to be talking about for Kids Corner on the last Tuesday of this month. It's a chapter book. It is a coming-of-age book about two young girls. I'm not going to spoil it because we're going to be talking about it in about a month. But it's a really good, hopeful book, but it also made me very, very sad. So reading that book made me feel really sad, so I'm going to put a lot of blue on here. Where do I want to put this one? Let's put this one sideways right there. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit more of the maroon for anxious, and then I think we're going to be good. So I hope that this is an idea that resonates with you at home, and that if you've got little ones who are they're just full of feelings and they don't know what to do with them, I hope that this is a good way for you to get a little art therapy into their day and help them recognize their emotions and help them learn that it's okay to talk about them with you and that they can be beautiful. We make them beautiful. Maybe I'll put a little bit more orange in here. Let's just put a little bit more angry. I feel like because of the coronavirus, we're all a little bit angry all the time, aren't we? It's just frustrating, and that's okay. So I'm going to put a little bit more angry orange in here. We don't want kiddos to be afraid of their emotions. That's not a healthy way that we want to think about it, right? We're going to make them look nice. Okay, so here are all of my emotion tapes. They are all associated with a different emotion. Here they all are put on my canvas. If I were doing this with a kid in real time, we would be talking about each of them as we put it down, what each of the colors means, and maybe we would be talking about specific examples of why we feel this emotion. Like I said, I feel sad because of that book that I read, and it made me cry, and it made me feel really upset. But I feel hopeful because our cases are going down, our COVID-19 cases are going down, and I'm excited that we might be able to actually see people in the library soon. And I feel happy because I know I'm going for a walk with my friend after work. And even when I feel sad, I know going for a walk with her makes me happy, so that puts me in a good mood and stuff like that. So we want to be walking through them and helping them figure out what it is that they're feeling and why. Okay, so now all you're going to do is you're going to decorate it even more. So if you're doing this with a really young kiddo, you might just want to stop here. This looks cool all on its own, right? But we're going to decorate it. So you can do this either with liquid watercolors. I have a whole bunch of them here. You could do it with regular watercolors. Just the cheap kind from Walmart work really well for this as well. You could use acrylic paints, or you could use oil pastels. I'm going to use oil pastels because I want to blend colors with my fingers today. If you've got a really like hands-on kinesthetic, like loves touching things kiddo at home, I cannot recommend oil or chalk pastels enough, because you blend them with your fingers and it looks so cool, and then it get nice and messy, and that's always fun, as long as you're like wearing a smock, which I'm not. I'm actually wearing a cashmere sweater, so I'm going to try not to get it on myself today. Okay, so now we're gonna just color. And what you might wanna do is pick colors that correspond to your emotions as well, so that you can kind of keep up the talk as you go. So I'm gonna pick a lavender and a light yellow and an orange and a maroon, if I have a maroon. I have a purple, we're gonna pretend that that's maroon, and then a blue. There we go. So I'm gonna pick colors that correspond with my emotion tape. And then you're just gonna color over. So what I'm going to do, I'm feeling more happy and hopeful than anything else right now. So I'm going to put lots of yellow and lots of lavender on here. And because this is an oil pastel, I'm just going to start rubbing it everywhere, and then I'll spread it out with my fingers. If you want, so today is a art, we're putting the A in STEAM today. We're doing some art therapy today. Not to be confused with, I am not a therapist. Please don't think that I'm a therapist. I am not actually qualified to do art therapy, but art is therapy in my opinion. So we are doing some art therapy today, but if you want to add a little bit of color theory in, or color blending, this could also be where you start talking about how you can put, this is what oil pastels are super good for, you can put two separate colors, two separate colors in one, and then blend them together with your fingers and see what color they turn into. So since I have the yellow right here and the orange tape is right here, I think I might put the orange on the bottom of the yellow. And you're just gonna color in, and then I'm just gonna blend those together with my finger and see what they look like. Oh, it looks like a sunset. And then this is the part where it just turns into, you continue to have a conversation about what emotions they're feeling, but this is the part where it's just fun for them, right? So they just get to color now and fill in all the spots. If you're doing this with really young kids, I found that they go really crazy with the tape. They might put more tape than not on their canvas or their paper, and they might have very little space to color. If your kiddo is really enjoying the tape and enjoying talking about their feelings with the tape being the medium, then that's fine. But if you know that your kiddo really likes to color, you might want to stop them at a certain point and say, okay, we'll talk about our emotions with the crayons now instead of with the tape. Otherwise, they're going to cover all of it, and there's not going to be any room to color in. I have noticed that happening in the past. I'm going to put some blue in this little middle one next to my purple, and then I'm going to blend in some purple. There we go. So pretty. Blend those together, and then I'm going to put some more blue over here. So I'm not going to color the whole thing for you because that would take a while. Well, no, it won't take a while because I covered a lot of space with tape. But hopefully you get the idea of what we're doing here. We are just helping introduce kiddos to concepts regarding emotions and emotional regulation and self-soothing strategies, and recognizing their emotions and helping them kind of put a nice pretty spin on talking about something that can be very uncomfortable for kids and adults alike, right? Not all of us enjoy talking about what we're feeling, but it is very good for us to do so. So this is also a really helpful activity that you can do with the older kids in your life, as in people 30 and up. This is also a fun thing to do with a group of friends. I'm doing this for children today, but if you wanted to do something like this with a group of friends and have it be like an icebreaker craft where you talk about the things that you're all feeling that day, that might also be really fun. I think I'm gonna do some more orange over in this corner. And you might also, it might be kind of interesting to have a talk with maybe the slightly older kids about what kind of colors bring up certain emotions in them. So, you know, once they've already identified what they're feeling and like they've put down a bunch of orange and a bunch of blue because they're feeling angry and sad today, or whatever colors you assigned them, maybe you can have a conversation about why we associate the color red with passion, or maybe you can ask them what they think the color red is associated with, or like why orange is like so bright and angry, or whatever they think it's associated with. Just get them talking about emotions, not necessarily as relates to them, but what they think about colors and how they relate to emotions. Just all good ways to help them work through what they're feeling in their little bodies that are just filled with so much emotion, and not all of them know how to handle it. Not all of us know how to handle it either, do we? All right, so I think that's all I'm going to show you for today. You get the idea. So again, if you're doing this with older kids, you can do what I did and write down emotions and then assign a color of tape to each one. Or if you're doing this with really young kids, you might want to stick to just 3 or 4 colors of tape and have like a little square of paper cut out with the name of the emotion written on it, and then you can have the tape itself lying on that paper so they can go, this one is the angry one, I know I can just reach for that color of tape and that'll be the angry tape. And then, like I said, you can do it just with the tape and just make your emotions look very pretty with the colors of tape that you use. Or you can color in the spaces left by your tape with liquid watercolors, regular potted watercolor, oil pastels, acrylic paint. You can use crayons and markers even. It doesn't have to be something that you got from the craft store. It could just be crayons and markers from Target or Walmart or Rite Aid or anywhere. But I hope that you enjoyed this demonstration. I hope that I gave you some really good ideas for ways that you can talk to kiddos about all the things they're feeling as we move into a full year of being in lockdown. And then, like I said at the beginning, I recommend everything by Todd Parr, but I really recommend, if we're talking about emotional regulation and recognition of emotions and self-soothing and strategies and stuff like that, I really recommend the I Am Not Scared book, which I mentioned is a way to help kids identify coping mechanisms when they feel fear. So like he talks about how he feels scared in the dark, but then on the next page he says, I don't feel scared in the dark when I have a nightlight. So a way to help kids put into words what helps them feel better when they're scared. So I recommend this book. The Feelings book, which is identification of feelings and helping kids get used to the idea that they can and should talk about them with people, family, friends, their local librarian, whatever they want to do. So the Feelings book, and then the Feel Good book, which is helping kids recognize coping strategies for all kinds of emotions, not just fear as in the I'm Not Afraid book, but this one is like how I talked about, I'm going on a walk later today, and I know that makes me feel happy even though I was really sad this morning when I read that book called Fighting Words. So this is a really good one for helping kids recognize that there are ways to make yourself feel better when you don't feel so good. So I really recommend all of those. I don't really have much news today. We do have I'm going to keep drawing or coloring while I tell you the news. We do have the second origami grab and go kit available. Oh no, a piece of my tape just got smooshed. The second origami grab and go kit is available. It is Mandarin Ducks this time around. There is a limit of 2 per household, or 10 per classroom if you would like to pick some up for a classroom or a day group or something like that. Just give us a call at 463-4490 and we will set up a curbside appointment for you to pick those up. Each kit comes with 3 sheets of flat origami paper, 1 sheet that has been folded and then unfolded so that you can see which folds you're supposed to make, and then a completed project so that you can see what it's supposed to look like at the end, as well as a step-by-step instruction sheet. Pinned to the top of our Facebook page, which you probably already saw, is a video where Miss Jenny demonstrates folding the Mandarin duck so that you can see it if you follow along better with someone doing it in person. So those are available now. We do still have some of the box, the pretty triangle box with the pointed triangles at the top. It's supposed to be an incense holder, but it can be for whatever you want. We do still have some of those available. That was the first origami kit that we did. So if you want either or both of those, you can go ahead and give us a call and we'll set you up with an appointment to pick those up. And the teen Discord server is up and running now. So I don't know if you're familiar with Discord, but it is a free invite-only space where people can gather and talk about what they want. They can create their own little Discord groups within the server. Like if, for example, some kiddos want to talk about, not kiddos, this is for teens. If some of the teens want to talk about, say, the latest Avengers movie in the library Discord server, they can create a group for that. And another group can create a server specifically for talking about Naruto or whatever they want to talk about. So that's an invite-only space. It is live. It went live on February. So if you have a teen at home who would like an invite to that space, you're just going to want to give us a call and talk to Katrina, or you can go onto our website and just search for Discord, and it will pull up the PR for that Discord server. And there is a form that they have to fill out or that they have to sign. And once they've signed it, Katrina will send them a link. We'll send them an invite so that they can get in. So I think that might be all the news for today. I haven't gotten very far on coloring it, so as you can see, depending on how much tape they put on, this could be something that keeps kiddos occupied for a long while. And then, of course, as we're coloring in with colors, we can just do it willy-nilly and put whatever colors we want on there, or we can use the same colors that we used for our emotion tape, and we can continue talking about why we feel that way while we color. That might be a little much to expect from the younger kids, though. I mean, it's up to you. You know your kids best. So maybe if it's the younger kids, we just kind of color whatever we want at this point. But for the older kids, it can definitely be a way to help them work through and express what they're feeling at any given time. So I hope that you had a wonderful day. I hope that you got some ideas for how you can talk to the kiddos at home about how they're feeling. And I will see you guys next week for a more science/technology/engineering/math project. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rain next week, and I'll see you later. Bye.